Welcome back, or welcome. I think you're going to enjoy this one. Just me and my iPhone 11. We worked hard today, so I really do hope you enjoy the video. There's not going to be any other B-rolls. I just really like this intro. Isn't that nice? I accidentally deleted yesterday's video and the backups. Can you believe it? Andreas Garsai was first last video. Or was that Garza? Gotta keep it moving. Congratulations, friendo. If the dollar is dying. I said if, but if the dollar is truly dying, and I think it's naive to think it's not possible. Ever hear of recency bias? When tragedy strikes many, it's because they didn't believe it was possible. Likely because they've never witnessed it before. And how could they? Some cycles are longer than a human lifespan, such as weather cycles and, yes, monetary cycles. Just because you have not witnessed it in your lifetime does not mean you cannot be royally screwed by something you never thought was even possible. When many are miserable and destitute, some will cry out, "How could this have happened?" Perhaps they should have made better use from their modern tech devices, such as maybe learning a little history or listening to an audiobook, or my favorite, using it to expand their wealth. Rather than, I don't know, how do you see people wasting time on their phones? Please, make sure I'm not wasting my time, friendo. And hit that like button to show appreciation for the video. And thank you. You're always so generous with the likes. It's a pleasure to serve you. I'll continue. I hate to break it to you, but a collapse can certainly happen. The runaway inflation that we've been witnessing with our own eyes for the past couple years, it can accelerate beyond what many think is even possible. Enough to make life for many impossible. And I'm sorry, but this is no joke. And in this video, I'm not going to be asking you to put a foil hat on and change your whole life. I know you're probably pretty busy, like the rest of us, trying to keep up with this inflation. But I do have to ask you, if the dollar is truly dying, will you be ready when cash is trash? What do I mean? Well, what can you buy with trash? That's what I mean. And this does not have to be doom and gloom. In fact, it's not doom and gloom. It's nature. It's just a natural cycle. Collapses have been happening for all of human history. And yes, many have happened in your lifetime right now. Just not in your country. And you've been too busy, or maybe just too disinterested to look around. Or maybe you do know. You just need a healthy reminder. That's what I'm providing today, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Because it doesn't have to be a tragedy for some of us. Yeah, just some of us. But that's okay. Most of the world is not prepared leaders. We already know that. So, how can a collapse be an opportunity? It's no secret people were depressed in the Great Depression. But what may have flown under the radar is, in that time, many got rich. Those stories are not as popular. But with great problems come great solutions. There's money in solving people's problems. And all of a sudden, when there's a lot of problems, well, that's a lot of opportunity. Again, if you know something is coming, or at least has the possibility of being on the way, well, as long as we know how, we can simply prepare for it. So, what are we up against? Or mildly, what could we be up against? It's important to remember, just because something is imminent, and it is imminent, well, that doesn't mean it's necessarily impending. We may have a lot of time, a little time, or no time at all. I'm sorry, but that's also a possibility. So what are we up against? Let's start with the obvious. I think we all know by now we are up against inflation eating our savings. And if inflation eats your savings, well, what are you supposed to eat? I'll tell you what you're supposed to eat. Anything you can scrounge up. And they'll likely be things that right now you find unappetizing or unhealthy. But that's okay. You'll get the hang of it. There's an old Russian saying, hunger is the ultimate spice. So right now, you just may not understand all of the appetizing things that are around you. Examples: edible plants you can pick, small game you would have never considered, like squirrels and rats, or even big game that you previously would have never considered, like a deer lying on the side of the road that someone had hit with their car. And in some rare extreme occasions, Maybe you'll dabble in cannibalism. Do you think this can't happen to you? What about the people it has happened to? Did they think it could happen to them? Maybe that's something worth considering. Other things to consider: we don't just use our savings for food, we also use our savings for gas, rent, to heat our homes, and to air condition our homes. Imagine if you had to pick and choose between some of those luxuries. Which ones would you opt out of? Or what if you could not even afford the ones that you did not want to opt out of? Such as a place to live, or heat in your home in the winter. And in most places, air conditioning is a luxury. But I think in some instances, homes can become uninhabitable if you do not have it, such as apartments that are a few or many floors up. And if the occupant is a senior citizen, that could be extra compromising. Another thing to consider is, what if your needs are met, but your neighbors are not? There's a stigma that poverty is this highly moral thing, by many even considered a prerequisite for entering heaven. I personally believe you can be a religious, moral person with or without money. But I fear the reality is more crime comes from poverty. When people are desperate, they do desperate things. You may be able to look at the cash in your hand turning to trash and not panic. But what about the person next to you or the person next to them? How will they react? Do you think they'll handle it as good as you? Yes? No? What else could we be up against? What else could add to our struggle during this collapse? Let's say someone steps in to make sure people do not go hungry. Who could that be? Perhaps government will step in. By government, do I mean we the people, like my neighbors, the fellow residents of my city, all of the citizens of the counties of my state, and alas, the rest of my countrymen? No. By government, I mean politicians. Those people we love and trust so much. You know, those people that also obviously love and trust us so much as well. They like and trust us so much that they barely give us any privacy. And that's if we even have any at all. They love paying attention to what we're doing, and they're so protective. You see how they've been protecting us against terrorists, right? That's why they pay attention to all of our transactions and any tools that could be used to harm others. I think you know what I mean. These tools and money are the only way to really rise to power. There are technological and cultural ways, but the powers that be would never 86 a scientist, a singer, or some thespian, right? Because those aren't the way terrorists rise to power. Nope, dangerous tools and money, that's how. That's the stuff that really grows one's power. And when one grows one's power, it's possible they could become a threat to those already in power. After all, it's easier to subjugate your lessers than your peers. And certainly easier than anyone who's surpassed you. Who wants to try to subjugate anyone that has surpassed them? Well, maybe a lot of people, but I'm sure they understand the probability of success is low, but not impossible. Nevertheless, it's important for government to subjugate terrorists, even if it means subjugating the citizens, which, in the United States at least, are the government. So the government, which is the citizens, elect the politicians who serve our will and our Constitution because they must, or risk consequences from those they've disenfranchised and disarmed in order to stop the terrorist. What could possibly go wrong with that? Okay, so by now we've established that the people we've elected to serve us, the public servants, the politicians, just like the teachers and the people that work on our roads, they're paid by us, the taxpayer. That's right. Their paycheck from the taxpayer is how they become extremely wealthy once in office. And they don't want to lose that. So they're going to be desperate to serve us in a crisis. Or if you want to be a bit pessimistic, you could say that maybe they'll do a power grab. But what are the odds our elected officials would do a power grab during a crisis? And like I said, risk losing their huge paycheck from the taxpayer. No, if we have a collapse, they're going to want to make sure everyone is safe and fed, even if it means redistributing the wealth, taking money from the more fortunate or those who had worked and saved, to provide provisions for the more misfortunate and unprepared, the ones without savings or any resources or assets. Do you think you're not among the affluent? Well, relative to others, I think you'll be surprised how wealthy you actually are, and privileged to be able to help so many others in their time of need. If this time should come, you likely will not get a speech like that. In fact, we're not really getting that speech now, nor have we the past couple years. And make no doubt, the process of redistributing your wealth is already underway. The powers that be need not take the cash out of your pocket. They don't need to raid your bank account. They simply print more money, and like anything else, the more of something there is, the less value it has. Isn't that true? Think about it, but not long. I gotta continue. So they don't need to take your cash out of your bank account. They simply print more, making it less valuable. And the fresh, filthy fiat they just printed, they take it and give it to those who are in their favor. The politicians don't take your cash and give it to their favored ones. They take your purchasing power by printing more currency, making it less rare. And they give away your purchasing power to their favored ones. And many Americans are none the wiser. And if you were one of them, you aren't now. You're welcome. Now that you know, what are you gonna do? Well, we'll get to that. Back to those in the politicians' favor. Who is in their favor? Let's see. We got stimmy checks and quite an extra boost for unemployment for a long time. The unemployed on unemployment were living large. People did not have to pay their rent. Even if they made a lot of money, their landlord could not kick them out if they did not pay their rent. But let's just assume they were misfortunate and could not pay. So were the ones that received these checks, extra unemployment, or no responsibility to pay their rent, were these the favored ones? Yes, but there were other favored ones. The people holding assets. Chances are you're even one of these people. But chances are, almost to a certainty, you're not one of the people holding the majority of assets. That's a very, very small percentage of our United States of America. And make no doubt, this inflation was and is consolidating and concentrating power into the few. Not only does this continue, but could accelerate. Wealth is siphoned from everyone and redistributed to those who know how to capture it and grow it. Are you one of those people? You could be. You don't even need to be rich to do it. If you were rich, your results would be magnified. And if you're really, really rich, like that small percentage I was talking about a moment ago, well, your results would be exponentially better, to say the least. Now, if you do not know how to capture this wealth, well, you're probably already feeling the pain. Maybe you got lucky, though. You have some assets, like a house. I'm sure you've been feeling pretty good about that the past couple years. But maybe it's not enough, and maybe you know that. You're not up against someone who's a little better at math. You're up against a group that's a lot better at math. And what you're seeing and feeling as gains in wealth is not and will not keep up with the rising cost of the things that you need to buy on a regular basis. All right, so now that we've addressed the possible threats / opportunities, remember, although these problems may hurt your wealth and possibly lead to worse, these problems are also opportunities. Let's get optimistic. After all, government is not the only one that can power grab during a crisis. How can we do it too? From what I understand and believe, if and when we get our collapse and the cash becomes trash, assets and tangible goods are where you're gonna wanna be. And if you don't trust the regulators, maybe more so tangible goods. Now, I won't get into all of the tangible goods today. Since this is a constitutional silver video, I'll keep it constitutional silver. I'll keep it money. Already tested in the field, American money. So how can we prepare for this collapse or fight back and maybe even come out a bit ahead? But first, a caveat. None of these calls to action are financial advice. This is just a thought exercise. And by all means, put your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to read them. For the sake of fun and creating jargon, I'm gonna call this list of actions against debasement, collapse, and the growing surveillance state, I'm going to call these actions and this movement the silver curtain. The blind spot of the surveillance state shall grow behind the silver curtain. What do you think? Is it catchy? All right, let's get started. First things first, get started. Even if you gotta start small, buy a little constitutional silver every week. Even 1 silver quarter a week adds up fast. I buy a silver dollar every week. And I've been at it for over a couple years, depending on when you're watching this, because I don't plan on stopping. I also pick up some mercury dimes once in a while. They are my favorite. And if the LCS has some, well, I may purchase them excessively, if the price is right. The second action to make you more resistant or to help you fight back against this tyranny is to learn the real value of silver. Not just the price or the price action, but the purchasing power it's had throughout history. I'll give you a quick example. In modern history, a silver quarter would always buy you a gallon of gasoline, and it still does today. And I think for well over 100 years, it would get you a pound of ground beef. How would you like to store 100 pounds of ground beef on your desk or on your nightstand? Well, or in a safe. You just need a jar with 100 silver quarters in it. There are many examples like this. Take the time and learn some of them. I think you'll be surprised. All right, number 3, call to action. Maybe trade junk for treasure. And I'll add, maybe don't buy junk and buy treasure instead. Sell clutter or scrap and convert into pre-1964 silver coins. I think there's more to this than it sounds. Because when you learn how to sell your things, especially if you learn to sell them online, you are learning and partaking in a skill that's scalable. And what I mean is, you may sell all of your junk or your nice things. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be junk. I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult your stuff. I'm sure much of it is very nice. But say once you sell it all, you're going to get experience with a market, and your eyes will be open to more opportunities. You may see things somewhere and say to yourself, well, I could sell those for much more online. Or if you find something online and you say to yourself, well, I could sell those for more online as well, and you find yourself in the middle of an abundant source and high demand, well, that's a great place to be. That's the stuff that makes some people rich. But you know, you aim for the stars, you still might hit the moon. I hear a lot of investors talk about the moon. It's a pretty popular destination. Number 4, say you already understand the value of silver. Maybe teach it to others, and maybe be kind of quiet about it. Something I don't do very well, I guess. Anyhow, not everyone gets it. Share wisdom, not fear. There's no doubt fear sells, but you really don't want that to be your prime motivator. Things don't have to get really bad for silver to be relevant. Your constitutional silver are not just doomsday coins. They're silver, a highly, highly useful rare metal. Did you know people on ships and people on the wagon trail in the early United States were said to have dropped silver dollars in their containers of milk and water to stop them from spoiling? How good did it work? I don't know. But what I do know is silver is antimicrobial. Silver is also the best conductor of electricity and heat out of all of the metals. And you know how technological our world is now. So when you hold that silver coin in your hand, you are holding many, many possibilities. These coins don't just sit pretty in your safe. Silver is out there pulling industrial weight, catalyzing multi-billion-dollar processes like ethylene oxide production. Ethylene oxide is needed to make antifreeze, detergents, plastics, polyester, and sterilizing agents. If you want to make these things, you need ethylene oxide. And if you want ethylene oxide, you need silver. And if you need my silver, it's going to be right here behind the silver curtain, minus posting it on the internet for everyone to see. Sounded good. Actually, that kind of leads into the 5th action against tyranny, or to prepare ourselves for a collapse, or just protect our purchasing power. Maybe even earn a little purchasing power. Bad things don't need to happen for a return on investment. Anyhow, the 5th thing is hide it well, know it well. Keep your silver safe and accessible. There's plenty of videos out there for that. I'll let you look that up on your own. All right, the final way to fight back. Number 7, stay out of debt. Hard money means hard discipline. Budget like your freedom depends on it, because it does. Remember, debt is dependency, and dependency leads to bondage. I know people don't seem to think so these days. Maybe they're right. Maybe it's different this time. History would not suggest that, though. So, final resolution, how we win. I hope you hit that like button. I'm working hard today. I turned my AC off so the recording sound would be better. And it's like 100 degrees outside. It's all right. Sometimes I'm enjoying a video and I forget to hit the button too. I guess it's karma. I appreciate your support, friendo. I'll conclude. Final resolution, how we win. When the fiat system cracks, silver shines. Those who prepared won't panic. You'll be able to trade, barter, and buy while others are frozen in fear. While others wait for help, you'll already be helping yourself because you took action when it was still optional. Sound money equals sound freedom, and freedom isn't given, it's stacked, one coin at a time. So, did you enjoy the video? Let me know in the comments below. Did you not like the video? Let me know in the comments below. I'm only laughing because I'm wondering why you're still here. But I'll even appreciate your feedback as well, friendo. Or should I say unfriendo? I don't know yet. Negative feedback is also helpful. I've been at this a little while. My skin's getting thicker. Besides, I never record myself crying anyway. I'm kidding. I don't really cry. My hopes and dreams, they were shattered so long ago. But enough about me. Are you still not a thousandaire? Yes, you may have a net worth above $1,000. But are you subscribed to this wealthy community of ours? We have quite a culture here. So why not hit that subscribe button and stick around, why don't you? Comment new guy down below. And friendo, look in the comments. Be on the lookout for new guy. Give him a warm welcome. And to my mighty thousandaire extremist, I know you're just a proud few, but you really make things happen. I know it's getting more difficult, but if you could, hit like on all the comments below and all the comments on the comments below. Let's boost that algo and grow uncomfortably fast. I'm uncomfortable. Are you uncomfortable? No? Well, I'm going to push through anyway. All right, I'll see you in the comments below because that's it. That is it. Thousandaire Radio, wicked shout. Join the pen pals. You can now write me at The Thousandaire Collector, 1700 Sullivan Trail, Suite 7, Box 111, Easton, Pennsylvania, 18040. Don't forget to include your info so I can put you on my mailing list.